Bueno, estamos en el lugar perfecto para hacer una entrevista sobre este tema, en el Museo de la Cruz Roja Internacional, y estamos con Peter Herby. Él es director de la consultora Petersburg Partnership y fue durante muchos años el director de la división de armas del Comité Internacional de la Cruz Roja. Thank you, Peter, to take this moment to talk to us.
Yes.
And I am wondering if you can give us like a general overview how this humanitarian perspective was being introduced in different processes, like across the years, because you've been involved in very many negotiation processes, international, in disarmament, in arms control. So do you think that this humanitarian perspective is included in the text you've been working on? Is this something that helped to the advancement of the negotiations? What is like this overview?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I'd say that in the last 20 years, 25 years, the humanitarian motivation, the humanitarian law, insights, and the evidence provided from the humanitarian community, including civil society, the Red Cross Red Crescent movement, ICRC, the UN, has been the motivating factor on every weapons negotiation that I've been involved in, which includes, as you know, the Maidan campaign, the campaign to prohibit cluster munitions, the Arms Trade Treaty, and now the work on nuclear weapons. And yeah, I mean, I worked on arms control in Geneva for 10 years before joining the Red Cross, the ICRC. And I can tell you that in the 80s and early 90s, you know, all the arms discussions were basically by arms control diplomats, the experts, technical security people, and the humanitarian perspective was largely absent or entirely absent. And I think it started with the Maidan campaign that the humanitarian and human rights organizations brought to the table the evidence of the devastating impacts of anti-personnel landmines, which were more impacting civilians than military operations. And from that, the awareness of the long-term effects of weapons that were being used grew and grew, including from all the media attention, Princess Diana.
Yes, we remember we have all that images of Princess
So,
Diana.
So it absolutely is new and has made a crucial difference in achieving in the last 20 years. So it's a complete change from 25 and more years ago. Of course, even the prohibition of chemical and biological weapons in 1925 was based on what they do to people. But I think during the Cold War and after, disarmament and arms control became like a technical operation, and it was supposedly
Defense, military, this kind of.
Yeah, it was supposedly all the domain of those who were experts in military, arms control, security issues. And of course, they have an important voice, but what was forgotten is that the motivation is usually what these weapons do to people. And international humanitarian law rules, which require that some weapons just may not be used because they're too indiscriminate, they have such a disproportionate effect on the civilian population. And so this perspective had been missing, and through these campaigns that I mentioned, I think that it's become clear that, of course, security and technical arms control people have something to say. They're an essential partner, but so are the victims. So are the organizations that see what happens when weapons are used over the long term and what impact they have on civilians. So are organizations like the ICRC that specialize in international humanitarian law. So it's broadened and motivated all of the recent negotiations, I would say.
And just focusing on the last example and that is the treaty that banned nuclear weapons. Why the RCRC or why the humanitarian perspective need to be included in this?
Well, it's fundamental, I'd say, because humanitarian law requires every state in the choice of weapons to determine whether it's legal in terms of the indiscriminate impacts it may have on civilians, or the disproportionate impacts. That means that the impacts on civilians is more important and more can't be justified by the military value of that weapon. And it seems to me that nuclear weapons fail on both counts. And I mean, it's been obvious for decades. But what changed is that with the beginning of the international campaign to abolish nuclear weapons, ICANN, and then the ICRC president's statement on this in 2010, we began to reframe the debate. And nuclear weapons have never really been examined internationally from the point of view of their humanitarian impacts. And so with the ICRC president's speech in 2010, we were able to somehow reframe the issue as a humanitarian issue to demonstrate that there is no international response capacity or plan to respond, that the scale and the long-term nature of impacts are tremendous and irreversible, and that these can't be justified under international humanitarian law. That then helped lead to the process where states, for the first time in the nuclear age, started having meetings, international intergovernmental meetings in Oslo, Nayarit,
in Mexico,
to look at what are these humanitarian impacts. And also in 2010, the NPT states parties recognized the catastrophic humanitarian impacts of nuclear weapons for the first time in the nuclear age, even though they should have been obvious. And then these intergovernmental meetings produced a great deal of new evidence about long-term environmental impacts, health impacts, an admission by the UN and the Red Cross movement that there is no response capacity. And so this brought this aspect which had been missing from such discussions into the center. And so that, I think, enabled and motivated the work towards prohibition, which came afterwards.
And just like the last questions, do you think that in the future, all future negotiations on the disarmament are going to be based on human impact, on the humanitarian perspective from now on, or do you see like this goes there, the international community?
Yeah, I think it's pretty irreversible because you have such a more informed and more organized and more expert civil society. I mean, if we look at all the organizations that now work on weapons issues from a humanitarian perspective, including human rights organizations, the Control Arms on the Arms Trade Treaty, and the International Campaign to Ban Landmines, the Cluster Munition Coalition, the ICANN, and many, many others who have networks around the world. I mean, you can't put this back in the bottle. I don't think. The expertise is there, the competence, and as well as the success, the motivation to work on this. And so I think that, and the means are there now, to share information, to document what's happening in the field over the long term. And so I believe it's irreversible. I mean, there will be hard times as now where it's hard to focus attention because of so many other issues. But this expertise and motivation and experience can't be put back in the model, in my view. When I started here in Geneva in the 80s, in the bad days of the Cold War, there were maybe 3 or 4 people and organizations that were following arms control issues from a humanitarian perspective. There was WILP, there was me in the Quaker United Nations office, and a few other peace organizations, but not field-based. And now there are hundreds and hundreds.
It's incredible here in Geneva how many organizations and groups you have.
And even within government circles, there are more diplomats and government officials that have been part of these processes, so they understand and are often committed to advancing the humanitarian perspective on weapons issues, because they see that it's relevant, they see that it has been successful, it's out, and it will continue.
Continue like that.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much, Peter, for your time, and we continue talking.
Yes, it's a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.